Hey guys, Madru up here, and welcome to the 9th video in our Let's Learn Java series. And I'm going to take a little step back here because I kind of forgot to cover a subject, which is switch cases. Now, switch cases are like if statements, where we were doing like if, and then we'd have our brackets, and then we'd say if, else if, right? And we could just chain these along. Well, there is an alternative. You don't have to do this. There is an alternative. It's less typing. But I'm not the biggest fan of it, but this is how you do it. It's called a switch case. What is it? We'll type in, let's get a number here. So we'll start off with a number. Let's say 0. So, I'm going to write out a switch statement. So we type switch, put in parentheses, and put in some brackets. Now that is the basis of our switch. Now what we want to do here is in our parentheses, unlike our if statement, we're not checking what's true or not. We're actually going to tell the switch what variable we want to test. Okay, what are we going to test? And I want to test this variable number. I'm going to put number in here. I can spell number. All right, now I got to tell it what am I testing it. So I'm going to test if it's equal to something. I'm going to put in a case here. So this is our first case. All right, and I'm going to say if it's equal to 0, and I'm going to put a colon. All right, and now after the colon, I'm going to tell it what I want it to do. I'm going to say system.out.println it is 0. And then I'm going to type break. And the break is important, and I'll show you why here in a bit. Let's add some more cases. I'm going to add another case. I'm going to add a case for 1. And system.out.println it is 1. And then we're going to add another break. Let's add another case for 2. System.out.println. Oh geez. It is 2. And we're going to break. All right. Now the last thing I'm going to add is not actually a case, but it's called default. All right. And so our defaults will activate if nothing else activates. So you know how like with the if statement, right? Let's go back to the if statement and compare it. So we have our if, then we have else if, and then we have else, right? Our default is basically our else. Like nothing else happened, do this. What I'm going to do is system.out.println nothing. I'm going to write nothing. And then we're going to, I don't need a break here. Okay. Now, I'm going to run this. I'm going to save it, right? And I want you to make a prediction here. So our number is equal to 0, and we have a case 0. What it should do is it should see our case 0, and it's going to print out it is 0. Right? So I'm going to compile it, and I'm going to run it. And it prints out it is 0. Works just as expected. So why are these breaks here? Well, these breaks are important because, well, I'll show you. What do you think will happen if we get rid of the break? Get rid of our breaks. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to compile it, and then run it. Oh no, we have a problem. It says it is 0, it is 1, it is 2, nothing. Wait, why did it do that? It executed all of the cases, but it should have only executed case 0, right? Well, that's what the breaks are for. So what it does when it executes, it looks through, it finds the case that it's equal to, right? So it'll look, we have 0, it's looking for one of the cases that are equivalent, and 0 is equivalent. So it'll execute the line of code until it finds a break. Once it finds break, it stops executing, and it leaves the switch statement, okay? Now, if there is no break, it'll execute this line of code, then it'll execute this line of code, and then it'll execute this line of code, and then it'll execute this line of code, because there's no break. Same thing here, so if we were to set this to 1, and I'm going to get rid of the break right here, right? We forget the break here. And then I compile it. And I run it. It executes. It is 1. It is 2. Because it is equal. It's not equal to 0. So it doesn't execute this line. It is equal to 1. So it executes this line. But there's no break. So it executes this line. Sees the break. And stops. Now I have these on one line. You don't have to put them on one line. I like the look of it on one line. You could, you know, space it up like this if you want to. It doesn't matter. Like I said, white spaces don't matter. So You can do that, but I think it looks nice if you have it all on one line like that. All right, now you don't only test numbers, you can test things like strings and chars. So if I change this to, say, hey, right? I'm going to make case 0 say hey. Case 1 say yo. And make case 3 say hello. Right? I'm going to leave the output the same. I'm going to run it. We're going to compile. And we run. And it says it is equal to 0, which is our case. If hey is equal to hey, then print out it is 0. Right? Now, what is our default for? Our default is if nothing is true. So if I said this is yellow, right? We don't have a case for yellow. All right, so our default will run, which should say nothing. Compile, and then run, and it says nothing, because we don't have a case for if it's yellow. We only have a case for hey, yo, and hello. So our default executes and says nothing. Right? So that is the basis of our switched case. Hopefully that was informative. Comment, rate, subscribe, and thanks for watching.